Hello beautiful people, welcome back to another video. I am so excited to be sharing this next week and a half worth of videos with you guys, maybe a little longer. I am traveling, and before I left, I did a meal prep session. Decided to meal prep so that way when I went to Austin, I would eat very, very clean, and then that would free me up to eat out a little bit in DC. So right now I am in Washington, DC, and I am here by way of Austin, and Austin was a really great trip. Meal prepping like this was so successful for me. By the way, I'm April Lauren. I'm on a journey to lose 200 pounds. I have lost 90 so far. I have 110 to go. And let's just dive right into this meal prep. So I started by cutting up some watermelon. This watermelon was gonna go bad while I was gone, and I knew if I didn't cut it, like, it was just gonna go bad. So it ended up being my favorite thing that I did. It was so good. It was so really funny. In the airport, I pulled out a bag and people were like eyeballing it like crazy. People wanted my watermelon, and I don't blame them. That watermelon looked good, and it was. A few people went by and they were actually talking about, I could audibly hear them, how they wanted watermelon after they saw my watermelon. It was really funny. And I highly recommend meal prepping for travel. It helped me so much. Most of this meal prep was inspired by the very person I was going to meet for the first time, and that is Julia Rene. Julia Rene is an IFBB pro. She is a delightful human. She used to suffer from binge eating disorder. I love that she has a binge eating support group and different things like that on her. It's all linked on her Instagram. And then she also has a YouTube channel. And she is just, like I said, a delightful person. And I am so grateful that I got to meet her and work out. I always learn so much from her, including the way that I am meal prepping in this video. So I had never considered meal prepping in the way that she meal preps for travel. And one of her first videos that I ever watched was actually her going to Houston, and she meal prepped, and I was like confused and blown away and like kind of stuck in this state of admiration because I literally had never considered meal prepping that way. And y'all remember last summer I went to Asheville. That a lot of just the idea of me meal prepping came from that video I had just watched of hers, and I did not do it the exact same way. But now that I have done it, like officially, I am even just more inspired by like how easy and efficient it was. It was so good. I always put vinegar and a little bit of salt in with my boiled eggs when I'm cooking them. It makes them peel easier. And as you saw, I did warm up the toast, or toast the toast. And that was so that it wouldn't smash down. Like if I just put the plain bread in, it would be like a horrible mess. But by toasting it still, like, it wasn't like, it still had a little layer on it, but it really wasn't bad. And then it was perfect for just my avocado. So I did avocado toast and 2 boiled eggs instead of egg whites. And that was a perfect breakfast for me while I was traveling. I really, really enjoyed it. And so once the eggs get all boiled, I went ahead and peeled the eggs. And what I was doing right now with the beef was just letting it kind of cool off a little bit. I didn't want to put it in plastic bags while it was still super warm. And so I just put it in a little container, put a paper towel below to kind of help pull some of that fat out, and then set it to the side so that I could get everything else ready. And this was actually so early in the morning. I was getting ready to go. We had to drive all the way up to Raleigh, and I did vlog that day. I'm pretty sure my videos for this trip are going to be slightly out of order, but that video will come where I share how using these meal preps and everything worked on that first day. They'll be laced throughout a couple of the videos, but it amazed me how great it was to have them in my bag. Even though I didn't eat them as on time as I would have liked to, having them kept me from making bad choices in the airport. Like, I didn't buy it. This is probably the first time ever going in an airport where I didn't buy something. Like one of the layovers, I was stuck for a long time and I ate watermelon, and I did have to buy some water, but that was it. And if they would have had the water dispensers, like Austin has this amazing water dispenser. I wish all airports had it, where it's kind of like the ones I find at the gym where you can fit your full bottle underneath it. You just fill up your water. That's so awesome to have. I loved it in Austin and just very convenient. So here I am portioning out the beef. So what I did is I cooked enough to have 5 ounces, of raw meat per bag. And then when it cooked down a little bit, so I just weighed all of it together and then divided that by the amount of bags that I wanted to take. And so I was doing those for both lunch and dinners. So I took 6 bags and then I put the vegetables in it and I put the broccoli in it and the meals were ready to go. And that worked out so well. Like I said, it was like heating them up. Oh, I also did ketchup and Cholula. I wish I would have packed more of those. You'll see me putting those together in a second because I only did 2. I was worried that they might get tossed in the airport and they did not. The only word of caution, and I'll probably remind you of this again in the closing, is that with having all of this food in an insulated thing in the backpack that I got, I did get stopped at security both times. It was very fast. I think fast is relative to the size of the airport you're at, but that's just something to be mindful about when you're planning your travel, so that way you prepare by allowing that time. You may be thinking that's too much time for that, but if you consider how much time you would spend going out to eat or waiting in line even at the airport to buy things, or how much money you would spend. There's so many points where it's like, it's absolutely worth it to do it this way. Not saying that you have to do it this way. And if you have kiddos or you're traveling with multiple people, it could be harder to do. I understand. And whether you ever meal prep for travel or not, no judgment from my way. We all need to do what we need in order to be successful. And this is just, I'm blown away by how good this was for me and how much I benefited from just having the meal prep with me for the whole trip. And so one of the other things is with this trip was traveling by myself. And I wasn't planning on not eating out the entire trip. I just knew that when I went to DC, my husband and I were going to his military ball. We were going to be traveling around DC, and the chances of me eating healthy during that leg of this week were unlikely. Like, it's unlikely that I was going to be as on point as I wanted to be. So making these first few days of the trip really count was important to me. Now, the Cholula and ketchup. What I did is I wrapped them in saran wrap. So this is the Cholula and ketchup. And that way, if they did leak, and they didn't leak, but if they would have leaked, it would have been trapped. And then I put those saran wrap things inside a plastic bag so that if it did leak and then it leaked through the saran wrap, it was still not getting all over everything in my bag. So it worked out quite well, and highly recommend. If you've never mixed ketchup and Cholula, and I always use sugar-free ketchup, it is definitely awesome, and I would recommend it to anyone. So these are the snacks that I brought. I brought 3 popcorn bags. They're 100 calories each. I never used them. I did not eat all of the Built bars. They were very convenient to have. And then I did eat all of the fiber bars, and I did eat all of the pistachios. So I ate a little less than I had planned to, but that was all that I needed. And part of that was like that first day, especially the timing, I couldn't eat. I didn't have access to a microwave. If I wouldn't have done cauliflower rice, I probably just would have ate it cold, like regular rice and beef. But cauliflower rice, it has to be warmed up or I can't. So here's everything before I put it in the bag. And then I went ahead and got all of the air out of these bags so they closed down very small for what they were. And then this bag, I got it off Amazon. I'll link it below. Is super nice. That whole bottom part is is a insulated area. And then I just took the one container, learned that from Julia Rene, so that I could reheat things in the container. And just worked out very nicely. I will make a quick playlist of the videos that I know she's done on meal prep and travel, because she's done things like meal prep and checked a bag full of food and things, and that's not what I did here. I did not check the bag of food, so I just wasn't bringing that much food with me. So I'll link that in a playlist up above. It was a little bit like Jenga at the end. I was trying to fit everything inside of the boxes. Everything inside of the bag, and also fit these little ice things. So I was also worried about these ice things that they would get pulled because it's liquid, but they didn't. So they did not care at either airport. And when I went into the Austin airport, they had kind of melted down, so they were more liquidy, and they didn't care. So I'm not saying that they never would care, but for my experience. It all worked out very well. I took the silverware, took the meals, and yeah, it worked out quite nicely. And then everything that I didn't put in the bottom, I just put down in the top. And then I closed it up. I also fit like my laptop in here and an extra camera. So I traveled with 2 cameras. And here is the finished product. I hope you enjoyed the meal prep with me. I am really happy with how easy it all was. One word of caution is that if you are meal prepping and you have an insulated bag that you're gonna take through security, you're probably gonna get tagged, like flagged, whatever. They're gonna wanna look through your bag. So they didn't like peel through all, they just opened up the little insulated, saw it with snacks, closed it back and sent me on my way. But I would plan for that time-wise because that takes a little extra time. I think in Austin, it took me an extra like 15 minutes. Leaving Raleigh, it took me an extra like 3 minutes. So just be mindful of that, but it was so helpful and I made so many better choices. I did record a full day of travel, so I will share that with you guys on Monday. And I look forward to seeing you then. If you haven't and you'd like to subscribe to my channel, click the subscribe button down below. And I look forward to seeing you next time. Have a great weekend. I hope that you maybe do some meal prep.